this special day. Yes. The schedule. It should be found in your program. Yes. So spiritual mind healing service. Join practitioner Courtney Johnson on Tuesday at 6 p.m. for a thought-provoking session on the value and virtue of patience. The Zoom link will be sent from our mailing list on Tuesday morning. Mother's Day. We celebrate our mothers today in a hats off to mom extravaganza that is sure to be fun-filled and informative. Come and share in the experience of financial tips, beauty, counseling, product tasting, plant sales, and many giveaways. The contribution is $1,000. Stay behind to chill with us. Labor Day, remember that May 23rd for the 18th staging of our Labor Day activity. Come and join us as we work together in a spirit community. Come with your tools, cleaning materials, and potluck to share. We will have a wonderful experience of fellowship. Meditation. Meditation is a spiritual practice. If you wish to hear more and learn how, please call the office. The number is 876-946-2230. I'm going to repeat that. 876-946-2230. Prayer support. We continue to respond to all your requests for prayer. A practitioner is available to pray with you immediately following our Sunday service. Practitioner Courtney Johnson is on duty today. The number to call is 876-289-0907. That's 876-289-0907. If you want to speak to a practitioner, call the same number from 8 a.m. to midnight. Monday to Friday, pastoral counseling is available. Please call the office for appointments. Donations, tithes, and offerings. Thank you for your generosity and for helping us to be a beacon of light in this world. If you wish to support our ministry financially, kindly visit our donate page at donate.templeoflights.com. CSL.org, yes, thank you, which has our banking details. Thank you, as together we support a world that works for everyone. This concludes the announcements. Please join me in the first hymn, Love Divine, All Love Excelling, on your program flyer or on the screen for our online viewers.
All thy faithful mercies
And now I have the honor of welcoming to the podium this morning one of our special speakers, my mother dearest, Mrs. Stacey and Delvaille.
Good morning, Temple.
Morning.
All right, so I'm about to enter a new phase in my life. You see, Kaylee is going off to college in July. And while it is a very exciting time, it's also a very nerve-wracking time. And while I have been through this before, somehow it's different this time. So my son went to college. He has now graduated, but right, so he graduated, but he's a boy, and he wasn't the last child. So now I'm going to be an empty nester. And I guess some of you will understand how that feels when your children go off and you're home alone. But I want to share with you some tips that I plan to use to cope during this time. So you need to plan ahead. Speak with their children in terms of what to expect. Communication. Agree on a time when you're going to call, because as many of you may know, when they leave, the communication kind of dwindles, for want of a better word. Take this time to think of things that you're going to do with your time. You may want to engage in some self-care activities. If you weren't physically active before, you may want to take on, some exercise classes, some yoga. Draw on the principles that you have learned at Temple, so your meditation, prayer, that will help you through this time. Schedule when you're going to visit or when they're going to visit, because there will be holidays that they're going to want to come home or that you may want to visit as well. Think of volunteering, because now you're going to have that extra time on your hands. You may want to volunteer or mentor other kids. So you may not have your kids at home, but you may want to help other kids who may need mentoring. So now that you don't have children to drop off at school every day, you can now plan your vacation. You may want to travel more often now that you don't have those kids to drop off at school. You still want to show your support, even though they have left. You want to show that, you're still thinking about them, you still care about them. You may think of maybe attending a team sporting event at their college. Show that, school spirit. Send them care packages. Let them know you're still, there. Be kind to yourself. It's normal to miss them and to worry about their safety. As a Kaylee, I wonder how she's going to wake up in the mornings when I'm not there to wake her up, because she sleeps right through the alarm every day. So that's one thing I think about. How is she going to get to classes on time? But you have to allow them the space to grow and to develop and become independent, because they are going to be adults, or they are adults, so they have to learn to take care of themselves. You have to trust that what you have taught them in life, they will take that with them, so that when they come upon challenges, they will be able to cope. Think about the positives in this new experience. As I mentioned before, you will have time for yourself to do more of the things that you want to do. Maybe there are projects at home that you want to take care of. You can use your time to do that. There may be new experiences that you want to share with your child, and so you can plan, how you're going to meet up with them. Maybe just for a weekend or a holiday. What you're going to do with that time when you get together. Let them know that you're proud of them. It's been hard work to get to where they are, and the hard work has paid off. And while the hard work hasn't finished, because they're stepping into a new phase, and college is serious business, you're still proud of what they have achieved so far. As I said before, it's time for them to grow and develop and become, the human beings that they were meant to be. So you have to give them the space. Yes, they may not call as often as you would wish, or they may not answer the phone when you call, but you have to be patient and give them that space and that time to figure out who they want to be and, who they are really. And just embrace the technology. They're just a phone call away or a video call, so even though you're not seeing them around the home, you can still speak to them and see them and check up on them. And of course, you can reconnect with your friends. When you have children, sometimes you don't get to be with their friends as often as you would like because the children take up your time. Now that they're no longer around, you can now reconnect with your friends or your partner. If you have a partner or a husband, reconnect with them, spend more time with them. And that's basically it. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, everyone. Please help me welcome Mrs. Beverly Dinham-Spencer to the platform. This is Kevin's mom. She is special to us as she has supported all the youth programs for many years.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. Put on my glasses. Happy Mother's Day to all our mothers, grandmothers, stepmothers, foster mothers, and dads who are mothering their children. Today I'm dealing with parenting the adult children. Recognizing that our babies are now fully grown. And that can be very difficult for us to accept. It's difficult to accept when they are moving on to college. That's the first step. And it's quite a shock, as you have been told. And it's difficult to accept. But when they're finished college, many of them never come back home. And so the process of now becoming having a different kind of relationship with your children is now in place. They're no longer the curious 5 to 7-year-olds whose entire focus is on mom and dad. As adults, they now have lives of their own and perhaps families of their own and interests which may not or may coincide with yours. The challenge for many parents of adults is how to navigate this new dimension. And I would like to share a couple of ideas with you. Recognize that they are children of a modern era, and there will be differences in how you will see things, such as the new hairstyle. You have to get comfortable with some things. Understanding and respect is the key. However, you and they should understand that despite the new era and the new things, the principles of life remain the same. Values that they have been taught in this church and at home: integrity, honesty. These are values that never change, despite the hair. We have the benefit of wisdom garnered over the years and should share the insights gained with our children if and when invited. Remember that. When they ask you, how did you handle X situation? It is an opportunity to be a sounding board and share your knowledge and experience from which they can learn and grow. Setting boundaries with your children. Do not allow them to take you for granted. Example, sacrificing your money or your time should be things that you seriously consider every time you get a request. However, setting boundaries with yourself is also very important. Your children may have a family of their own. Therefore, do not be too demanding of your children's time or their money. So, there must be a balance. Consider yourselves in the role of a consultant to your children and not the CEO. Finally, continue to make a special effort to do things you love together. For example, in our family, we have a tradition of going to the movies together, the entire family. We've been doing it from our kids were small. To this day, my adult children will say, "Let's go to the movies, Mom." However, one of my sons have asked that I do not sit beside him because I weep, I yell, I cover his face, and he says, "We are going to the movies together, but you sit way down there." Traditions like this, road trips, we love to go on road trips. Last year, the entire family went to one of our all-inclusive hotels, and we just had a ball for 4 days. Having those kinds of things help to build solid relationships. It also helps the younger members of the family to learn about the values of that family, and also to honor those who have worked to build that family. It also builds memories that will sustain families when there's loss in the family. And it fosters strong bonds among those left behind. Parenting adult children is a new role for many parents, but it is just as critical to our children as in the past when they were small. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Mrs. Spencer. Another round of applause, please. Our next speaker is Mrs. Angela Elliott. A big round of applause for her, Miss Angela.
Good morning, everyone. Boy, I want to look good from up here, you see. I love the hats. I thought of a hat, but forgot. Let me add my greeting to all our mothers, and indeed to everyone who mothers so many children in so many ways. I'd like to take this opportunity to give a special Mother's Day blessing to my beautiful daughter-in-law who just had her baby a week ago, a boy, and has made my son Flynn such an ecstatic father. It's a great feeling when we have children. There's just something special about giving birth. We're part of something miraculous. Say with me, mothers, I am part of something miraculous. I am part of something miraculous. And those of us who have had more than one child know that coping can be strenuous at times. And we deal with things differently as we add to the family. I saw this statement recently. Sterilizing. What you do to your first baby's pacifier by boiling it. What you do to your last baby's pacifier by blowing on it. We know how it is, right, mothers? Then as our children grow older, some of us send contradicting messages. One minute we're saying to them, find yourself, get a job, get a career, be somebody. And then when they annoy us, we say, get lost. So, kind of confusing. But we know, I think somebody's saying that to mommy. But we know that the underlying love and connection will always be there. Are you hearing me clearly? I'm not accustomed to this. This is not where I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable over there. Then we become grandparents. Glorious time. No direct responsibilities. And we accept the fact that we are like a piece of string. Handy to have around and easily wrapped around our grandchildren's finger. We know. But delivering a talk is in some way like delivering a baby. We're pregnant with ideas. But we get a bit apprehensive, as I was when Reverend Ann asked me. But there's always encouragement and support and strength from within and without. As Reverend John said in Wednesday morning's quiet moments in the garden, the I in the midst of me is mighty. Before I accepted this invitation to share, I affirmed the presence of God is within and Spirit does the work. I will not limit God. That same morning, I opened Practitioner Steve's daily post, and it read, unlimited. With God, I am unlimited. And we know Steve believes in synchronicity. So with this reassurance and remembering Practitioner Jennifer's suggestion in her last talk to step out, choose, commit, act with urgency, I accepted. You see, friends, the way we often see ourselves in our comfort zones, within our limited roles, is not the way God sees us. He has a much bigger, grander picture and plan for us. And he's always there for us, as long as we open our consciousness to his presence. So here I am to deliver, and you are here to help me. I've titled my sharing, No, I am pushing Sunday. No limit to God. So just know with me right now, as we pull our consciousness, that the presence of God infiltrates this center and this service, and that everyone within the sound of my voice opens their mind and their heart to the truth that sets us free. I know it, I feel it, and I release my words to the ever-receiving law, knowing that it is so, and so it is. So friends, I'm just casually going to share some of my life experiences which demonstrate the presence of God in all of us. I think I've always been drawn to spirit. As a teenager, my main ambition in life was to become a parson's wife. A country parson, not town, a country parson's wife. To me, that was the safest, most respectable life. And I would have 6 children. I would direct the choir. I would lead the women's guild, etc., etc. Well, my first husband could not have been further from a pulpit. My second, Mike, is much closer. And between them, I produced 5 children, so almost made it. I went to church regularly. I was organist at a few. But nothing was deep for me, no real spiritual feeling until I came to Temple of Light, Church of Religious Science, as it was at the time. Here I got the feeling I wanted. I lapped up everything I was taught, and I trusted the persons teaching and guiding me. So when I wanted to own a house, I approached practitioner John, as he was at the time. And he said, that's easy. Just get up every morning, give thanks, give God thanks for your home. And I even mentioned it to Reverend Sonia, and she said, you know, you could even put a date to when you want to get into to occupy your home. So said, so done. I occupied my home at the appointed time. And we mothers know that when we are delivering babies, it doesn't always happen at the time when the doctors say. But in this case, Spirit delivered on time. After about 7 years here, I felt I needed to delve more into the knowledge of my own soul. So I spent several years with the Brahma Kumari's teaching of the soul as they see it. Plenty meditation. So I was away from temple for a while. Then one Ash Wednesday, I was just led here, and I got such a beautiful feeling. You notice how everything is about feeling? It's a feeling that counts. So I dropped in from time to time, then more often, helping Mr. Dexter with the music, so that when he eventually made his transition, I was here, and I was able to fill the gap that his passing created. And along with Valerie Chuck, we were able to continue the music. But listen to this. The first Sunday morning that I came back to temple, Rhonda Lumsden Lou, sitting right over there, met me and said, just like 3 days before, her aunt, Reverend Elmer, who is our founding minister, came to her in a dream and asked her, where are Angela and Emily? She was flabbergasted, and then there I was within days of Reverend Elmer asking her this. And that Sunday, it was Emily who actually suggested that we come. It's amazing. This was no coincidence. Definitely God's plan for me. So effortless, so comfortable. Looking back at some of the incidents in my life, I realize now that they were God in action. I didn't know at the time. I'll tell you one. While teaching at Monroe College, it's a boys' school, I was teaching music. I was asked to run hymn practice because, you know, boys don't like to sing, and the hymn singing in chapel was really going down. This was going to be once a week, the last period of the day. So this one day, I did my hymn practice. I was ready to dismiss the boys. Noise. I said to them, you're not leaving until you're quiet. Now, those of us who know where Monroe College is, it's in deep rural St. Elizabeth, up in the hills. Beautiful spot. And so, day boys are bussed in and out. Now, there are about 3 buses that leave the school immediately after school. You can see the boys dashing from their classroom to catch that bus because the buses are going in 3 different directions around St. Elizabeth to take them home. I said, "You're not leaving." They kept on chatting. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, no quiet. Of course, you know, I am getting nervous. This is my job on the line. If so many boys cannot get home. 15 minutes, around 15 minutes, they took me seriously. And then I dismissed them. So they dashed to the bus park. I dashed even faster because I want to see if there is even one bus. Can I tell you? Every bus was delayed for some reason. And they all got on their bus and went home. What a relief. It had to be the hand of God. It had to be. There is something always working for our good, and that's spirit, and that is inside of us. As it is said, there is nothing to fight, only God to realize. We mothers have to believe this, practice this, and live this. We are sometimes warriors and think that is our duty. When my sons got their driver's licenses, of course they wanted to take the car out at night. I used to get worried, but after a while I surrounded them with God's light, knowing that all was well, and I went to sleep. Maybe not a deep, deep sleep. I always heard the car coming in, but I didn't worry. We mothers have so much to do looking after the family. Of my 5 children, I have 4 boys. So every year, sometimes within a year, longer pants, bigger shoes. And then there's the food to stretch on 2 teacher salaries. I went through a time when I felt I just didn't have enough to share with others. And if anyone dropped by, sorry, let me back up a little bit. I learned something from my son, my 4th son, Gordon, who is sitting over there. If Gordon was given a square of chocolate and there were 6 other people in the room, he went to each one asking them if they wanted a piece. So when I saw that, I started to relax. And if anyone dropped by, I wouldn't hold dinner until they left, it was my habit. I put out the food. It was always enough. Friends, as I said before, there is always something working in us to make life harmonious. Hear what Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind and Spirit, says. And I'm reading from the April 2023 edition of the Science of Mind magazine. It's a really good publication. I really recommend it. Some good stuff inside. The article is titled Opening Our Mind to God. And the extract I'll be reading from is Absolute Certainty is Our Greatest Good. So listen up. We didn't have Wisdom Circle last Sunday, so this is my Wisdom Circle bit. It's not very long, but fairly long. We quote, "The greatest good that can come to us is the forming of an absolute certainty of ourselves and of our relationship to the universe, forever removing the sense of heaven as being outside ourselves, the fear of hell or any future state of uncertainty. We are each a part of the only life there is, some part of the eternal God. We are forever reaching out, forever gaining, growing, expanding. Spirit is forever incarnating itself in us." Such an understanding teaches us that there can never come a time when we shall not progress, when we shall stop progressing. That age is an illusion, that limitation is a mistake, that unhappiness is ignorance. We cannot be afraid when we know the truth. The greatest good accompanying such an understanding of truth will be the elimination of fear. This understanding will rob us of our loneliness and give us a sense of security that knows no fear, a peace without which no life can be happy, a poise founded on this peace, and a power that is a result of the union of peace and poise. We can be certain that there is an intelligence in the universe to which we may come that will inspire and guide us, a love that overshadows. God is real to the one who believes in the Supreme Spirit, real to the soul that senses its unity with the whole. Every day and every hour, we meet the eternal realities of life. And in such degree as we cooperate with these eternal realities in love, peace, wisdom, and joy, believing and receiving, we are automatically blessed. It is not a terrific mental struggle or soul strain that we arrive at this goal, but through a quiet expectation, a joyful anticipation, the calm recognition that love, the living Spirit Almighty, is all the peace, power, and good there is. I want us to say this. I'm going to break it down. Love, the living Spirit Almighty, is all the peace, power, and good there is. And I want us to say just quietly along with me the whole thing. Love, the living Spirit Almighty, is all the peace, power, and good there is. End of quote. So it must have been with this feeling of certainty that a few years ago I was led to make a leap of faith to expand my studio and to include several instruments. I went from paying $4,000 per month to $40,000 per month for a larger location. When I did the math, it really didn't make sense. But what I learned from the teaching of science of mind and spirit is the importance of right thinking. So from struggling to pay $4,000 to paying $40,000 and never owing a cent, that was my demonstration. This teaching works when you work it. I'm convinced, though, that spirit does not pick up on the word not or no, so we have to be careful. It will latch on to the dominant thought or feeling. I'll give you an example from my experience. I treated myself one day to a natural juice from one of those juice bars. This was a rare treat for me because I just felt that this was extravagance and they always charge too much. I felt they charged too much. Anyway, I had it this day. I drove into my studio, took up the covered juice, balanced it on some books because I wanted to take everything into my studio at the same time. Balanced it on some books, got out of my car, and forcefully said, "Don't drop. Don't drop. Don't drop." Well, you know what happened. It dropped. But do you know what happened after that? About 5 minutes after, my drum teacher arrived with a natural juice for me. So what do we think of that? God's grace, right? God's grace. Another example. When my son Flynn was getting married, my brother and his family were coming out from Canada. And I definitely, clearly said to myself, how can I drive them around in this shabby looking car? Of course, I was comparing my car, which was taking me around quite nicely, to his Maserati that he got when he turned in his Lexus. You see where we're coming from. Anyway, so this was in my mind. Well, you know what happened? My car was totaled. and I had to make a replacement sooner than I had expected. But I was provided with a car with very easy payments. And it was from a friend, and he stalled the payments during COVID. So, again, an example of God's grace. God's grace is always sufficient. So we need knowledge and right thinking, and also gratitude. We need to give thanks constantly. 2 Corinthians 9, verse 8 says, God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. God is always on our side, friends. His will for us is for good, to the extent that we live in the kingdom. We know that all comes from the infinite source of wisdom, love, beauty, and harmony. As we tap into that source, it hears us and responds to us. We can always give thanks for things unseen, as I did with my home. One way in which we can show our constant gratitude is in tithing. All my adult life, I did not tithe until recently. I just felt I couldn't afford it. This is what I told myself. I admired everyone who tithed, but I never considered it for myself. And then during the COVID pandemic, the word tithe just blared out in my mind, and I didn't ignore it. I went to Reverend Ann, and I said, Reverend Ann, how does tithing work? And she says, I don't know, but it works. And she didn't even stop to discuss it anymore, but it works. Well, I started tithing from my income, which had really taken a dive during COVID, as a lot of us might have experienced. Full 10% of all my income. But you know, I was replenished 100-fold, and my business continued to grow. We are taught here that before the need is the thing, and with every apparent need, it is met. So in everything, give thanks. And when we do, our lives glorify God, and we give birth to the infinite potential that is ours. And our lives then will affirm the scripture which says in John 13:31, now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. Namaste.
Thank you, Mrs. Elliott. We will remember the insight you shared with us today. Another round of applause, please. Our first musical item from the Temple Chorale, please come. Our second musical item in honoring our mother is Mr. Davell Thompson. Applause, please.
Morning all, how are we doing today? So happy Mother's Day. And I'm gonna ask us all to do us all a favor here. So I'm gonna ask us to just give a special, round of applause to all the mothers in the midst today. Just because. I want to just kind of pull on something that Angela mentioned earlier, just how important it is to recognize the unlimited potential of God. Okay, trying to make it work. All right, here we go. And just kind of comparing that to the strength and perseverance and tenacity of mothers. It's really in a similar way how a mother finds ways to make things happen sometimes in the midst of what seems to be nothing. And you look and you say, wow, you really are a superhero. And really, not all heroes truly wear capes, but we give thanks for you today, and we thank you for everything that you do for us. All right? Thank you. Take it away. You sheltered me from harm, kept me warm, You gave my life to me, set me free. The finest years I ever knew. Yeah, were all the years I had with you. Join in, please. I would give everything I own, give up my life, my heart, my own. I would give everything I own just to have back again. But is there someone you know, they're loving you so, but you're taking them all for granted? You may lose them one day, something takes them away, and you don't hear a word they say. So I would give everything I own. I'm not hearing you. Give up my life, my heart, my own. I would give everything I own just to have you back again, just to talk to you once again, yeah. Mm-hmm. Whoa, yeah. But is there someone you know, they're loving you so, but you're taking them all for granted? You may lose them one day, something takes them away, and you don't hear a word they say. So I would give everything I own, give up my life, my heart, my own. I would give everything I own just to have you back again, just to top you once again. I'd like to have you back again. I'd like to thank you once again. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Mr. Davell. Bigger clap than that, please. Please stand and join me in the prayer of Jamaica, found on the insert in your program and on the screen. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established, and so it is. Our second hymn is It's a Special Day, found on the program and on the screen. In your hand. If you are at home, please remember to use the donate button on the screen. Place your hand over your heart and join me in a love offering blessing found on your envelope and on your screen. Lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. Thank you, Father, and
so it is.
Please join me in the closing affirmative prayer. We recognize the supreme spirit of joy. Our service this morning, a celebration of love, light, and wisdom. Now blesses Jamaica and the world. We take care that every thought we think and every word we speak affirms love this day. Love now goes before us, ensuring that our paths are filled with peace and harmony. I release my word to law and mind for its perfect fulfillment, and I give thanks, and this is so, and so it is.
So it is.
Let us keep standing, and please, let us stand and sing, yes, there is love on earth.
Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is love on earth, the love that was meant to be, with God as our power, family all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, love begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
Please remember to join Reverend John tomorrow at 6 for a quiet moments in the garden. I'll log on to Zoom for Tuesday evening at 6 for a spiritual enrichment service, and Mother's Day at 11. Have a wonderful day.
Take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
I said that.